Yeah, so this is what I was talking about with this is a high lift cyclone. So the normal cyclones here,
Right.
you can see they've got quite a big body and a short diameter.
Right.
So when you're using heavy media, what happens is that the heavy stuff gets thrown to the outside and drops down to get recycled,
Right.
and the lighter stuff gets sucked up the middle and into the dust collector.
Okay.
The problem with the bicarb is because it's really
So
light
fine.
and fine, you need longer for it to separate, so
Yeah.
that's why we have this. You've got a much longer tube in here, and then you've got a longer cyclone body, so
Right.
it gives it more time to separate out the fine stuff.
Yeah.
On a normal system, what you have is a pick-up box on the bottom,
Right.
and it would recycle, collect in a pick-up box, and then the blast gun will pick up from the recycled stuff straight
Oh,
from the
right.
bottom of the
Right. That's
cyclone.
clever, isn't it?
But because of the way we've got this set up, it's set up as total loss, so
Right.
it'll extract it all out and just dump it in a bucket, and then we'll have to
Right.
refill the hopper.
Okay. Back to you a bit.
To you, to me.
Alright.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll put a bit of tape on the sump plug, on the filler plug, as you
So,
said.
yeah, the oil filler plug just.
What you do? Oh, is that just to?
I was trying to get that big up.
Oh, don't worry about it.
To be honest.
What I'll just do is try to put a little bit of tape around this rubber bit,
Right.
and then just try whatever I can to stay away from it.
Okay.
I'll put a bit of tape on that plug. See what happens to that.
Yeah, it's the softest of the soft impact medias.
Yeah.
Idea being that it doesn't affect the base material underneath the contamination.
Right.
So there's plastic media, there's walnut shell, there's corn cob, all ground down into a granular powder form, different sizes depending on what you're trying to work with.
Right.
Great for removing like carbon black contamination like that. As long
Right.
as it's dry, it'll take it away, so you're
Yeah.
not having to deal with the dust issues yourself.
Right.
The only trouble with these sorts of medias like bicarbonate of soda is it's only a one-use media. You can only use it once.
Yeah.
So
Oh, cheers. So you run it through.
run it through the gun once, it hits the surface, it virtually shatters and explodes on contact to the surface.
Yeah.
It's that energy and that action that's actually taking your contamination away.
Right.
The only problem is then you're just left with a lot of dust and a lot of dusted contamination. So the whole thing's taken out by this cyclone separator here,
Yeah.
which is a high efficiency cyclone separator, which basically just separates all that shattered media from the airflow. The air continues to the dust collector,
Yeah.
which is giving you your suction energy. And all the bicarbonate of soda drops down into this bin here to be thrown away. Or, if you can still use it as a very fine powder, back in the machine again.
Yeah.
But
That
we
makes
wouldn't
sense,
recommend that. It's literally just a one-use media.
Yeah, yeah.
So
is there anything I need to be warned about?
no.
Just crack on.
The great thing is using this stuff, you don't have any stomach trouble. Or,
Yeah, it's good for indigestion and
yeah.
Is that right? Right, come on, Jack. Let's have you. It's going to be a little tricky. We'll probably have to place it and place it and place it.
As well, if we need to.
Oh, reach round, yeah. Okay. Well, I'll probably have to stop it and roll it on its side to get the sump done and everything.
So what you've got in here, we've got our blast gun.
Yeah.
So in here we've got an air jet. So compressed air comes in on this line here,
Right.
which feeds through this air jet, which is throttled to a certain diameter to give us the right amount of airflow.
Right.
And inside here you can see where the bulge is, you've got a cavity
Like a
that
chamber.
sits
Yeah.
around that like a chamber.
Well, that
So what
creates a
happens
vacuum
is-
and sucks it
Yeah,
up.
so as the air goes through there, it pulls air from behind it, creates a
Right.
vacuum in here, sucks up
Sucks
the
up.
media from the bottom of the hopper.
Right. And it's just hit the bar and go.
Yeah, just
Yes,
that bar
just
there.
grab your
Yeah, yeah.
gun in there.
Yeah.
And then just
then
hit,
go.
hit your foot pedal and go.
Okay.
Try to give it a little bit of distance, so 3 or 4 inches off, just so it's got room to accelerate out.
Right.
And try not to hover in one spot for too long, keep it moving, and you're away.
Okay.
What's that?
Yep.
How's it going, bloke? What do you find is the most difficult thing to do?
It's just a bit tall, the motor. It would be better if it was down on its side, I think. Can open it there, can't we? Well, that's nice. Well, it's not that hard, really. It's just that the medium that we're using isn't taking all the paint off, which is what I was hoping it was going to do. It's doing a really good job of cleaning it, but I want it to go slightly deeper to get the paintwork off. Otherwise, it'll have to be repainted, which I'm not really that keen on. All the road grease and grime is gone. Well, not all of it, but I was only halfway through doing the motor really. But I realised straight away it wasn't getting the paint off. It was coming up nice and clean, but it wasn't really getting into the paint.
Once it's been used once, you can't reuse it again for injection moulding. So it's ground down into pellet form, and then we use it as a blast media.
Very good.
They use it for other various packing materials, but
Right.
so this is, if you actually touch it, you can feel it's more angular.
Yeah, it's more substance to it, isn't it?
Yeah, although it's still
The other
quite
stuff
a
was
light.
almost powder, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. So
That'll take a
hopefully.
minute to come through.
no, it should be all right now.
Right.
Can you see a difference?
Doesn't want to take that paint off there.
So is this medium doing it a bit better?
It's a bit better, yeah. It's still not quite getting there.
Watch your back, please.
Is that blocker one in it? There we go.
What are you looking for?
I'm just looking where I need to do around here. Sorry? Oh, Thomas shuts first. If you look, it's. So I don't think that's still paint.
Right, I see.
And there's paint. I think there's paint still in here.
I'd be tempted to use glass bead.
We're going for gas bleed then.
I think so. Yeah. Otherwise, chasing shadows.
Yeah.
We need something that's going to, without dimensionally changing. I mean, the easiest way would be to use aluminium oxide grit, but that will leave a sanded finish. And then to go over it again with glass bead, which will smooth out the sanded finish.
All right.
That'll definitely get everything off, but it's an abrasive system,
Right.
so it's going to abrade the surface a little bit, as if you've gone over it with sandpaper.
Right.
I don't know if you want to avoid that, but it'll do it a lot quicker.
Yeah. And that's by just going for the glass bead then?
That'll be using aluminium oxide grit. and it'll leave you with a sanded finish.
Right.
Then go over it again with the glass bead, and that'll smooth out.
All right, but you couldn't. The glass bead wouldn't do it on its own.
It might do. There's a good
Right.
chance it might, but yes.
Because I remember when we did Gordon's frame, it left that with like sandpaper feel to it.
That's aluminium oxide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was very aggressive.
Yeah.
But to be fair, the frame it isn't cast. It was formed sheet,
Yes.
as it was.
Right,
So I think
okay,
it's
yeah.
actually softer.
Right. But it'll give you that sanded finish. But if you're going to repaint it,
Yeah.
it gives you a key for the paint to stick to.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you want a smooth, just
Ideally, I want the motor to be smooth, but these outer casings, they're coming off anyway. I'm not too fussed about these because they're coming off and being done separately anyway.
Right, okay.
It's mainly the heart of the motor.
Yeah.
I wanted to get it as pinged as possible. So
Well, we'll give it a go with the
I'm
glass
messing you
bead.
about that.
No, not at all. If we just go with the glass bead to start with, we can always fall back and use some aluminium oxide,
okay.
and then
So is it just time and perseverance, Mark, to
Yes.
get the video? Yeah, well, you
Yeah.
just have to crack on, but
Yeah.
no instant fixes, you know?
Yeah.
the thing is to creep. In this instance, we've crept up on it from the softest
Yeah.
media
I'm working
and
into
working into harder
Yeah.
and harder and harder
Yeah.
to try and avoid any form of change of surface finish.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
But it's a very popular way is to aluminium oxide it first and then to go over it again with glass bead. It's a two-glass process.
Yeah. To make it more aggressive, because it wasn't taking the paint off, but now it's taking everything down to the bare aluminium itself.
So you're happy now?
Happier.
I think when you ring up next time, they'll say, sorry, we're closed.
Yeah. Probably a bit more down here. And we'll just have to put it back on its feet and do the back of the motor again.
Yes.
So are you happier with this medium that you're using?
Yeah, it certainly looks more aggressive. We're done round there now. We'll do it. See if we can get some more of that off.
Yes. Sort of where we want to do it.
You got much left? What, sorry?
It's leaning on the oil filter, is that okay?
That's fine. I didn't realise the casing was that fucking ground away then.
Speak to me.
Well, I'm just going to do under this side of the motor, and that there, and then flip it again. See, I thought I'd done there, but I've not done that. The fuel pump, the water pump, and in there's not done right. Nearly there. Well, we've used a more aggressive medium to get rid of a lot of the paint, and that's done a pretty good job.
Glass bead.
I might not want to put my hand in it.
It's like
Oh, it's super slippy.
Yeah. So under a microscope, it's all tiny little marbles of soda lime crystal.
and that'll give it a clean effect.
Yeah.
So instead of it being like that matte black, it'll go a little bit shiny.
Yeah.
And then what is that? You know, why is that's going to do that?
Because that's a grit. So when it hits the surface of the component, it leaves a mirror image of itself behind, which is an indentation. To end up with that grit, sanded sort of finish, you could strike a match on it.
Right.
Glass bead, when it hits the surface, under a microscope, it looks like a brass top table in a pub. So tiny little, perfectly round craters. So you end up with a sort of slippy finish, like orange peel. Sort of.
So is there a difference with the glass beads?
Oh God, yeah.
What difference?
It gives it like almost like a painted effect. It goes shiny again.
Are you enjoying it?
I mean, it's interesting learning about it.
Come on, well.
It has, it's come up. Beautiful job.
It takes some doing it. It's one of those things, the trade-off between stripping it right down and doing each bit. You can get a lot deeper into it,
Yeah.
or leaving it assembled and then you don't have to strip it down and stuff, but you can't get into all the nooks and crannies as well.
You're going to miss stuff like this, but I think on the grand scheme of things, it's a million times better than anything else.
Yeah, if you're doing a full restoration, you get it right down.
Yeah. So it's just going to go for a freshen up really.